Hello, everybody. This is the Stronghold podcast, number 19. I'm here from quarantine with Matt Pellino. Back again. What's up, dude? How you doing?
How's it going, Lucas? I'm doing great, man. I'm just, biding time, I guess, like everyone else. Quarantine's been pretty boring, but luckily we were able to get back into the swing of things with the UFC 249 card this past weekend, and it was a good step in the right direction.
Yeah, that was the number one thing for me, dude. I was jonesing so hard for some fights. Like, I was watching all those hype videos and shit for like weeks. I was just fucking dying to watch that shit. I watched all of them like twice yesterday. Dude, between the fights yesterday and that fucking Michael Jordan documentary, I've just been like balls deep in sports the last 2 days.
Man, everyone's been telling me to see it. I know how great Michael Jordan is. I'm not a basketball fan, and I haven't watched it yet. Everyone's like, "Oh, you gotta watch it. It's got this." It's like, bro, I could never get around basketball.
There's a lot of shit. I mean, for him, it's just he's a winner, right? I mean, that's the best thing about him is just seeing how competitive he is and how much of a freak of nature he is and all that kind of shit. Watching him go through his process and everything. That's really what it's about. It's more like, I look at it as more like even his coach, Phil Jackson, right? I mean, that guy's the most winning sports coach of all time. So just having him go through his process and his training methods and seeing one of the greatest and most competitive athletes of all time just fucking hammer everybody, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, from a mental aspect as like an athlete, I think it's probably a great watch. I just think I'll get around to it once everything starts to go back into the swing of things. I just feel like it would piss me off to watch like people competing alone. I was just like, oh man, I didn't get out of here and do something, man. So,
all right, man. So let's get into these fights. Can we get into that? What just first thoughts right off the top of your head? Just go for it, man. I instantly knew this morning. I was like, I got to ask Matt if he wants to do a podcast because I want to pick your brain about these fights.
I think like right when they announced that Gaethje was going to be the fight for Ferguson, I thought that you can. I right away thought that it was the worst matchup for him possibly. I think people don't give Ferguson enough credit. I mean, they don't give Gaethje enough credit. The guy has got 21 wins with 18 knockouts. Like, in MMA, that's hard to do. And he's got a bunch of 5-round fights. And he fought, like, super tough guys. Like, Luis Palomino, like, people don't know him. He's an animal, bro. He's like, if you ever watch PFL, he's like the Brett Cooper of the old days. And Gaethje beat him twice. Like, that's a huge win that people don't know about. And then you see all of his other fights, and he just lost because he got complacent. But he was winning the fights against Poirier and Alvarez, like, pretty handedly. And he used to be one of GSP's wrestling partners. He trained with GSP in wrestling when he was in college. A lot of people don't know that. And if you're training with an elite athlete like GSP,
I didn't know
like
that.
Extensively, bro, you're going to be good. When have you seen Justin Gaethje on his back?
He's never attempted a takedown, and I don't think anyone's like attempted to take down him, which is fucking crazy because he's got so much power.
You would think so, right? It's one of the reasons is because like he's got a reputation, not as like, I think people get the misconception where like you have to be this elite level wrestler to be good in MMA wrestling, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's not true at all. But when you have a reputation and you're able to hang with some like welterweights in wrestling, like good MMA guys, bro, people don't want to take you down. And he's got a fantastic striking coach in Trevor Whitman. And he's just so good at neutralizing people who try to take him down. Chops their legs, gets them tired, buries them. And I knew right away when they announced him as the person to come in for Ferguson, it was going to be an extremely tough fight for Tony because he gets touched up a lot in his fights.
Yeah, I agree completely, man. When I was actually a little upset when they announced the fight. I was upset Tony didn't wait for Khabib because I thought that he wouldn't get through Gaethje. I knew it was going to be a tough fight, but I mean, listen, Justin Gaethje is so fucking awesome that you just can't be mad, right? You just can't be mad. It's just, this Tony Ferguson Khabib thing slipping away again fucking bums me out. I knew that stylistically it was going to be difficult because Tony gets hit. His striking defense, in my opinion, is one of his weakest areas. But his chin and his toughness, by the way, his fucking chin. I've never seen anybody get hit so clean, so hard, so many times and keep going. That was fucking insane. I've never seen a human absorb that much impact before.
Yeah, man. And if you saw his face after the fight, though, you could see that Justin did a good number on him.
It was falling
And the
off.
thing
His
is,
face was falling off his fucking head.
it just sucks because Tony Ferguson won 12 straight fights. At any other weight class, you're already gotten a title fight at 6 or 7 fights.
And he was the interim champ before Khabib, before Conor, before Poirier. All of those guys who've held gold since then, he was the champion first, never lost until this fight. He just, you just wish you could see him get that unification fight because he deserved it so bad. And that was the hard part about seeing him lose. That's why some fans are a little butthurt about it. But listen, man, Gaethje did what he's supposed to do. And that guy's so fucking exciting and he's so awesome that you can't be mad at him for it.
And I think like the thing that's weird that people don't understand is like Gaethje's not a small guy. Like Ferguson looked taller, but they're actually the exact same height. It's just Gaethje's built through the back. So usually Ferguson, everyone's like, oh, he's long for the division. He's the exact same height as Justin Gaethje. Mm. So like Gaethje's a big dude. And people are not really taking into an account. Like when he fights Khabib, bro, they're gonna be very similar in size. I think Habib cuts from a bigger weight. But man, Gaethje's not. He ain't no slouch, man. He's a big guy. He hits fucking hard. I cannot wait for that fight. That is a great fight.
Yeah, and I even think that stylistically, the underdog in this case, previously it would have been Tony. Now it will be Gaethje. I do think Gaethje has more ways to win against Khabib because, I mean, the whole narrative behind Ferguson and Khabib was that we all knew Tony's going to get taken down. But it's that he's so good at fighting off his back with his elbows and his submission attempts. And there might be something there, but let's be honest. Like, I don't think anybody's beating Khabib off their back. I just don't see it happening. It's not to say it's not possible, and it's not to say Tony couldn't catch him. Everybody's talking about his Darce choke and shit like that. But, Justin Gaethje is a different animal, man. Like, taking him down is going to be tough. Keeping him down is going to be tough. And he's not going to quit. It's just, for me, Khabib is you've got to keep your back off the cage, and you've got to keep his hands separated. If that motherfucker connects his hands around you, it's on your leg, it's around your body lock, it's on the ground for a pat, anything. If he gets his gorilla hands connected around you, you're done. And so I think if I'm Trevor Whitman or any of these guys prepping for Khabib now, you gotta get that footwork going. You never can get pinned against the cage. Khabib doesn't really shoot that amazing in the open mat. He still can for sure, but it's not where most of his good work comes from. Most of it comes from the clinch. And hand fighting him and never letting his hands get connected, I think, is going to be the game plan.
I can't agree more. I think like the interesting matchup is Justin Gaethje he fights forward the entire time. Similarly to Ferguson, but Ferguson accepts the ground. Gaethje does not accept the ground. If you watch his fights, he's very hard sprawler. He down blocks extremely well. I think if he can put pressure on Khabib and force Khabib to wrestle in open space, I think it becomes a very interesting fight because the disparity in the stand-up between both of them, there's such a large gap.
Oh, yeah. Gaethje is definitely the cleaner striker. I think pretty much everybody can agree, especially after that Tony Ferguson fight. I mean, because he showed the number one trait he hadn't showed previously, which was patience. He had Tony hurt, and he never fucking got into that back and forth thing where he gets a lot of his darces from in scrambles when either he's hurt or when they're hurt. He was able to back off, let it come, and then the finish came in the end just by pure fucking beat down over time, volume and volume and volume over time.
100%. And then the thing is like, if you watch Khabib when he fought Conor, his first takedown he shot in the middle of the cage was a very ugly shot. Head was on the ground. He basically just dove for his leg. And Conor tried to wrap around. He tried to like block with the foot and go behind, but he didn't lock his hands behind, like underneath the crotch to like get the roll or to stop him from getting the double. And then Khabib cut back from the single and then stood up and finished the takedown. He's not going to take Gaethje down like that. If he takes a shot like that, no way he's finishing on Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje wrestling with like Ryan Deacon and stuff like that. Like Northwestern's probably best wrestler besides Sebastian Rivera is like one of his constant wrestling partners. who's finished like high in the U.S. Open. He's got a bunch of international wins. So he's been wrestling with some very high-level guys. And there is no way if Khabib shoots like that, he'll take Gaethje down. No chance.
I do think an element that he will have to work on, because Gaethje's that old school wrestler too, especially against the fence. But you know, that classic wrestler getup that leaves a path to the back where he fucks up everybody. That is going to be the danger. If he does get down, he gets mat return, tries to come up in that wrestler stance, leaves a path to his back. So getting up is going to be real tough. One, you got to avoid the mat return, and two, you can't let him anywhere near your head. He'll crank you, he'll jaw lock you, he'll choke you. Again, if he connects those hands, whether it's around your neck, around your body, around anything, it's going to be a problem.
I think if Gaethje can stop the first couple takedowns, it'll be really the tone for the fight. Because if he's able to stop the takedowns, later in the fight, the takedowns will be a lot easier to stop. And the other thing is that Gaethje doesn't take it. He's crazy, bro. He throws like rolling thunder kicks in fights and things like this. Man, bro, you don't know. Like, and the one thing that is different between folk style wrestling and all these other styles is they're used to fighting on the ground. So, you know, expect like Granby rolls and heavy like lock switches and stuff. Like Gaethje will bring the full arsenal to make sure, no matter what, if he gets taken down, he's popping back up. He's not going to accept the ground at all.
Who would you? I mean, it's a bit early for predictions, but are you going to take the upset here? Are you going to go with Gaethje, or you think Khabib gets it done? Putting you on the spot.
Man, it's so hard. Like,
yeah, it's so hard.
MMA, you don't usually use MMA math, you know, but Khabib doesn't fight very often, and Gaethje has just come off, bro. Who has beaten Tony Ferguson like that ever?
Zero people.
Zero.
Yeah,
like that
zero.
guy's a zombie, and Justin Gaethje just put his freaking as much man.
And he fought hard for 5 rounds.
Tony Ferguson.
He fought hard for 5 rounds, which was the game changer for me. I thought if it got into like if Tony could get to, I knew he was going to get hit early. And my thought was if his chin held up into the late rounds, he would be able to find ways to win there. But bro, in the 4th and 5th, Gaethje was still throwing hard. He was still landing clean. He didn't buckle under the pressure at all. His cardio was there. You know, I hear them talking maybe like Justin Gaethje, Conor McGregor, shit like that. Dude, if Justin Gaethje will fuck Conor McGregor up, I think, because he's not gonna. Unless he gets knocked out cold, which is a possibility. Like he's got that power late. He does not fade. He doesn't give a fuck. He's not scared to get in there and mix it up. That'd be a crazy fight too.
Gaethje is only ever gotten beat late in fights, and Conor McGregor fades late in fights.
Yeah,
dude. There's no chance. I'm sorry, but man, Conor McGregor, he's got great boxing and everything, but I think, bro, Justin Gaethje has 2 wins by leg kick stoppage. Have you seen him leg kick people? Bro, watch some of his fights in WSOF. He literally wins the fight by leg kick stoppage. The guy can't walk anymore. Bro, when he fought Edson Barboza, who's one of the most prolific kickers in the game, the first thing he did was go out and smack his leg.
Which was crazy.
The guy's got some good stuff.
Yeah, that was crazy watching him do that because nobody thought he was going to go out there and kick. Barboza is the best kicker in MMA, I would say. And to see him go out and then chop up his legs like that and then knock him out, dude, his left hook and his overhand right are so fucking nasty. And he beats you up all the way from the calf to the top of the head. Like that punishment is going across your whole body and does not give a fuck at all about anything.
That, and it's also like, man, he did this on a 5-week camp.
Yeah.
Imagine if he's got like 12 weeks to fight Khabib. And like, my thing is, I like Khabib. He's a dominant wrestler. I love wrestling. But as a fan of just the sport, he fights so infrequently. And for the big fights, he's found a way out. When he's supposed to fight Tony Ferguson the first time, he missed weight. Their first main event slot that wasn't in New York, he missed weight. He just didn't make weight for the fight. He didn't show up. He went to the hospital because it was the tiramisu time thing.
Yeah.
Remember?
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, man, to me, Justin Gaethje beating Tony Ferguson for the interim belt was a lot more impressive than Khabib beating Al Iaquinta for the real belt.
Oh
my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah. Honestly, I think the title still went through Tony. Like Justin Gaethje's got the most legitimate interim title other in uh on the same along the same lines as when Max Holloway lost to Dustin Poirier, because you beat a real champ. You came up there and you did that, and Tony hadn't lost. I mean, part of that title had to go through Tony. And compared to beating Iaquinta or even Conor McGregor, yeah, I think that interim title, the piece that Gaethje's got, is as legitimate as they've ever come. And that fight between him and Khabib, in my opinion, is two champions. Like they're two champions getting in there and getting it done. Fucking Justin Gaethje is a savage, dude. That guy is fucking awesome. It was like,
That's the thing I love about Gaethje. He's not gonna go, oh, I need this. I can't fight during this month. I can only fight once a year, bro. Gaethje's gonna fight everyone, and that's what I like about him. He's gonna fight everybody. He's not gonna be like, oh, I'm waiting. I'm gonna wait out. I want to fight a super fight. No, man. He's gonna fight Poirier again. He's gonna fight Paul Felder. He's gonna fight Dan Hooker, bro. He's gonna fight everyone.
and respect to Tony
The
too.
good-
Tony did the same thing. He didn't wait. He didn't fuck around. He went in there. He put it out there, and then it is what it is, right?
100%, and that's why, like, it's also a good thing if Gaethje beats Habib, because then the first matchup you can do is Ferguson versus Habib, the
Yeah,
first one.
yeah. And then
That's
how
the
about
first fight.
in a Poirier fucking Gaethje rematch? Are you kidding me? That was one of the most insane fights I've ever seen in my entire life. They both had each other wrecked. Like those two were both savages. Dude, between Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, and Tony Ferguson, you have three of the most savage humans to ever live fighting each other. Like those guys just do not stop. You have to separate them from their consciousness or they're not going anywhere ever. Those like did you see the fucking what was it? The Hardy fight with De Castro? Did you watch that one?
Well, I think the thing with that is in the second round, he hurt his foot,
he,
obviously.
he hurt
He
his
was
toe. He hurt his
tenderizing.
toe. Meanwhile, you got like Tony Ferguson's face hanging off. You got all of these guys like dying on the main card. He breaks a toe, which he's still walking on the whole fight, and then doesn't throw a punch for 2 rounds straight. It's like, bro, with Tony Ferguson's fighting, you're not going to fight because you hurt your little toe?
Bro, it's just a matter of like how much you want it, you know?
Yeah, man.
I think
So,
that's always been the thing in combat sports. It's just like how much you're gonna want to win, how much you're gonna want to do things, and then like you finally see that. Bro, the 155 division's always been the deepest in the MMA, just because it's right in the middle of where everyone is. And bro, to be honest, if I look at stylistically, the fight I'd want to see if Justin beats Habib is him and Paul Felder, because both those guys just fight like straight on the line, and they just throw heavy bombs. And man, Felder, I know he lost his last fight to Hooker, but I really thought he won that fight. And I know Hooker's supposed to fight Poirier next. So Dan Hooker versus Dustin Poirier will be a sick fight. And then, like, man, it's just that whole division. If you match Justin Gaethje up with anyone, it becomes exciting.
yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, and Paul Felder's definitely in the mix, man. I mean, everyone forgets that he just beat a couple years ago Charles Oliveira, who's streaking like crazy now. And in that fight with Dan Hooker, nobody lost that fight, man. Like, I mean, I honestly don't think you can discredit either. That shit was as close as it gets. They're both just fucking beasts. Paul Felder, man, that guy's over the last few years. He's another one along. Jesus, with Poirier and Ferguson and Paul Felder and fucking Justin Gaethje. Like, what is that? That is insane. That is like, those are 5 psychopaths just like fighting for the title. Like, those are some of the most blood and guts fighters to ever lace up any kind of glove.
Probably the Brazilian guy who's also good, who beat Anthony Pettis.
Which one?
I forget what his name is. He's also, that's definitely top 10. Let me get his name. He's a savage though. He beat Mairbek Taisumov in Abu Dhabi. The guy is just he's a killer, man. He's got a really good record.
Brazilian guy?
Yeah, trains
Yeah,
out of Texas.
yeah, I'll
I
know
want
it
to
when
say
you
that.
say it. Yeah, that top 10 at 155, man. That's not only the most stacked division in MMA, that's one of the most stacked divisions of all time. Could you imagine, just as a comparison point, could you imagine boxing having a top 10 that could fill in one division, that could fill any main, like could be a main event? Like boxing, you got like five people, and those five people will dictate all of the buy rates. Anybody watches it, and that's it. In that one division, you've got enough fucking talent to sell any card to anybody, and even the most casual fans will be like, dude, this shit is going to be crazy. There's 10 of those motherfuckers just in lightweight alone. Did you manage to find it?
No, it's the same, in my opinion. The UFC's lightweight division now is the same as the boxing's lightweight division in the golden era of boxing, when you have Roberto Duran, Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns. Like, you
Yeah.
had all these guys like that are fighting each other. Bro, anyone can beat anyone. And then every fight is just a savage fight. Like, no one got out of there alive. Everyone lost to one of them or the other, you know?
Yeah.
Sugar Ray Leonard beat all of them, but Sugar Ray Leonard also lost to Roberto Duran at his optimal weight class in that 15-round war. And then Roberto Duran went up and fought Marvin Hagler at freaking rounds. One of the most classic fights of all time. And then Hagler Hearns, which is just a classic. And then, like, they round robin those fighters, and that's what's so good about the lightweight division, is because if Dana White sticks his guns, it could be great.
Yeah, man, I totally agree. That's a good shout out too, by the way, because that probably is in boxing the most stacked any division's ever been. You could also go like the 90s era heavyweights with Holyfield and Tyson and Lennox Lewis, Riddick Bowe. You know, you could make an argument there too, but yeah, I mean, it's fucking, dude, lightweight is lit right now.
I'm a huge, like, in terms of like pugilistic boxing, when you look at like the all-time great, Roberto Duran is, in my opinion, the best to ever do it. And you hear a lot of people talking about like Floyd this, Floyd that. If you ever hear Floyd Mayweather's camp talk about Roberto Duran, they always say the toughest fight for Floyd Mayweather would be Roberto Duran, because he does his best work on the inside, where Floyd Mayweather is also his best. So that would have been a huge fight. And like, just his ability to, like, at lightweight, he's the best lightweight of all time. And again, when you look at boxing, everything it's the same in wrestling. You wrestle usually heavyweight in 103 or 106 now. You have 2 or 3 like top tier guys, and then the rest of the division can be complete shit. Just because there's not a lot of depth. High school kids don't weigh 103 pounds, and a lot of them take a lot of time to get to heavyweight. But the closer you get to the middle, you get the good median of technical and strength, and it kind of just fits in the middle. That's why, like, lightweight division in the UFC, like light to welterweight division in boxing, are always, to me, the most exciting fights.
Yeah, if anyone's listening to this podcast and you wanna go watch a good boxing fight, watch that first fight between Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard, the one where Leonard was fighting. Because the second one, he decided he was going to stick and move, and he was going to be long, use his length, stay on the outside. That first one, though, they fucking fought, man. They're both standing in the middle of the ring, just throwing hard shots at each other. You can just hear those fucking gloves slapping off each other's head. The one that he won, that Roberto Duran won. That fight was fucking crazy. They weren't like trying to stick and move on the outside. They just stood in the middle, and was it 15 rounds back then? Just beat the shit out of each other.
Roberto Duran, to me, is just, I like that guy a lot. I like the way he fought. He fought everybody. Didn't matter what weight class. And he fought, like, if you look at a who's list of, like, late 80s, 90s boxing, he fought everyone. And he didn't back down. And he beat Sugar Ray Leonard at Sugar Ray's best weight class, 15 rounds. He beat him unanimously. And then
he lost to Hearns and Hagler, though. But those guys are so much bigger than him, which is crazy because Roberto Duran just didn't give a fuck. He's like, whatever, I'll do it. I'll come in thick and still just show up and do the damn thing.
Roberto Duran's 15-round fights are amazing. Watch the Hagler Duran fight is actually just insanity. It's amazing. It's a
Yeah, that's
great
that's a
fight.
good shout out too, man. That's definitely a golden era, amazing. I mean, but then you realize, like, bro, the UFC, like, if you go from bantamweight to fucking light to middleweight, because John Jones has light heavyweight locked down so hard. If you go from 135 up to 185, bro, the fucking divisions now are just stacked. They're stacked. Everything is just, there's so many solid contenders in every division. The top five in every division, I think, could beat each other depending on the matchups.
I think that's what's great about MMA though, is for evolves so much so quickly. Like there's so much depth now. So now there are so many good fights to make. Um, Speaking of insanity, what about Francis Ngannou's like 15-second knockout over Rosenstruck? Oh my God.
I thought I
Rosen,
had I thought I had a hot take on that fight. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pick Rosenstrike because I looked up his kickboxing record. I watched him take a bunch of fights. He's got insane power too. So I was like, maybe this guy could be the one. I know. I was like, he's seen heavyweight power before. He's had like 80 kickboxing fights. So I was like, all right, here, Luke, everybody. I told all my students, I was like, here's my hot take. Rosenstrike gets the win over Ngannou, and then 20 seconds later he gets knocked out, and I was just like, fuck, bad call.
I did a breakdown of the UFC 249 main card only, like on my little videos, and the the
Shout out
one
your
thing I
channel, dude.
mentioned was
Shout out your channel. I'm happy there's other podcasters out there.
it's just Pellino right there. It's just my Instagram. You can just look it up on YouTube or my Instagram, Baby Cat Attack. They're just small videos, but I did the breakdown, and the thing I said is that Rosenstruck, he fights with a real pugilistic stance. Like his kickboxing and MMA, it looks exactly like how he kickbox in kickboxing. And that Ngannou, he's a small glove fighter, bro. He fights with small gloves, man. Like, and I said that the difference is Ngannou has more small glove fighting experience, and that he would win by TKO or knockout. And
Yeah, you
it
can't
was the
shield
most
against
untechnical thing.
Ngannou. You can't just like put
Yeah,
your hands up and shield and expect to block those shots. You can't eat them at all.
can't go straight back.
Yeah, yeah. Get caught against the fence in those small gloves, moving backwards. Yeah, with Ngannou winging those fucking windmills at you. Yeah, it's not good.
Bro, Ngannou reached back, took his hook from Mars, and bro, you see his hooks, bro? They're like he's reaching in his back pocket. Like you're not supposed to throw like that, but with him, he can get away with it. He's got the power to land, and if he touches you, that's how that's how he that's how he knocks everyone out. He's going forward. If you see when Stipe fought him, Ngannou's having to go backwards trying to strike, and when you put him on his back foot, he's stepping backwards. It's hard to generate power because he's throwing from way back then. He's throwing from way back. He's not going forward with it. He's going backwards. And Stipe took some shots, but Stipe was going forward the whole time and was able to give shots back and take them down. And I would just love to see Ngannou versus Rumble Johnson at heavyweight. Let's
Yeah,
go.
just do it. Just do it. But I mean, here's the thing with Ngannou is that technical deficiency that he has when, like you said, he's fucking swinging punches from Cameroon. Like when you do that, eventually you're going to reach a limit, and someone's going to be technical enough to put you on your back foot, to stay in the pocket, to move, to grapple you. Like, obviously Stipe and DC could give him problems. There's no question Ngannou could finish both of them if he lands a shot. But that style, once it goes into the third or fourth round, like Stipe was able to show, you can wear him down. You can take some pepper off those shots, put him on his back. So, he's not unbeatable. He's not, but he's so fucking dangerous that can you stay in the fire when those things are, when these fucking sledgehammers are flying at you? Can you stay in there? Can you keep a game plan, put him on his back foot, put his back against the cage, close the distance where his shots are shorter and they don't have the same amount of power? Like, you have to be able to do that while you're under fire with the heaviest power puncher of all time in small gloves. And that's going to be the trick, is being able to actually execute.
It's the same thing. It's kind of like you're preaching to the choir about like the technical like The first
Can
or
you
two
speak up a
rounds.
little bit, dude? Your volume's kind of going up and down a little bit.
Sorry. It's the same thing as like when you're talking about Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is not a. They say he's not a 5-round fighter because he throws with so much gas in the early rounds, and then he gasses himself out. Like you just can't. You can't sustain throwing that hard over that amount of time. The amount of body weight you have to deal with when you're wrestling with people, it's just it drains on you. It's just physically impossible to throw with that much power. So the same thing, and I think it just translates really well. Everyone talks about like Connor gassing out after the first 2 or 3 rounds, like taking steam off his punches. It's the same thing with Ngannou, man. There is no way. It's probably even worse for him because he's throwing so much body weight into those punches. If he doesn't connect and he doesn't finish you, and the guy puts him on his heels, fights him on the man. If you fight Ngannou on the cage, how's he gonna beat you? You can't. He doesn't knock you out on the cage unless he's
Yeah.
going forward. You know. I think DC versus Ngannou would be a good fight as well. I think Daniel Cormier would take him down and just beat him up.
Yeah.
I think I don't know, man. There's just so many good fights at heavyweight now.
Do you
Like
think these
Cyril
knockouts?
Gane,
Do you think these knockouts are going to kind of go to his head? Because with this, I mean, his record is insane. Like his last 4 fights have all been like in a minute or a minute and a half or something like that. Like, I mean, that's just not sustainable. And what that will do is like you get so confident in your power that you lean on it totally, and then you end up in like the Stipe situation where he can eat those shots. He has the cardio to go 5 rounds. Can Francis adapt to win a championship and maintain a championship if his power can't always bail him out?
and that's the thing. Like, I think, man, there's a lot of. It's just so many good fights. I think at heavyweight, if Rumble comes back, and then, bro, I'm telling you, there's a heavyweight named Cyril Gane, who's actually from the same team as Ngannou, who I think is a much better, well-rounded heavyweight. French guy, bro. He's a beast. He's a
He's
killer. He's
jacked
the
too.
future at
He's
heavyweight.
fucking jacked. I saw him fight his last. He had I think it was a pretty tight fight though in one of his UFC fights. But yeah, I mean, he's got the physique, he's got the look. You can tell he's sharp. He knows how to strike too. He's a much more classical kind of kickboxer. Yeah, I know that guy. He's definitely interesting prospect. I think he just cracked the top 15 recently, or will probably quite soon. I think he's 3 or 4-0 or something in the UFC.
Yeah, man, he's a killer. And then there's there were so many good performances. I mean,
What do you think
look
about
at
the co-main, the Dominic Cruz Cejudo fight? Did you think that was an early stoppage?
I think anytime someone's coming up, it's an early stoppage.
Yeah, me too.
I think if you're coming up, you should let him go. But when you watch it in slow motion, like when you watch it in real time, you feel bad for Dominic Cruz. But when you break down, as a referee, it's so hard to because you want to look after the safety of the fighter. It sucks being a ref. It's got to be the hardest job because you don't want to fight. You don't want a fight to stop it too late or too early. Either way, you're going to get criticized to hell, right? So always he's trying to err on caution, I guess. But I mean, he got hit with the big knee, fell flat, and when he's defending, his head down. Like as the ref, as a ref, you could be getting hit, man. He's just getting bop. My thing is if you watch Frankie Edgar fight, if you watch him fight, one thing he does well when he would get rocked, especially in those Gray Maynard fights, is his head comes up. So like the ref can see that he's working. When your head's down, even though you're okay, as a ref, it's hard. You can't see if he's going out or not. Even if the legs are working, his legs could be like working, but he could be almost out as well. It's a hard thing to call. I mean, to be honest, Dominic Cruz wasn't winning that fight anyways. It wasn't like he was winning and he got stopped. Cejudo's too fundamentally sound, I think, for anybody. But Peter Yan is really the only fight I want to see Henry Cejudo fight. I think anyone else is pretty much a buzz show for him. I think he's too technical. Golden Gloves boxing champion, Olympic gold medalist. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, Piotr Jan is clearly the seeming heir apparent to that division, but going to the Cruz fight, I thought it was a bit of an early. My only thing is, and maybe the referee didn't know this. First of all, being a referee is without question a thankless job. I've been a referee for MMA matches, and even as it's happening and I'm in there, I was refereeing an amateur fight one time, and I saw one of the Evolve guys was fighting. Charles Liu, I think, was fighting somebody. And I was refereeing that fight, and he had him in a nasty armbar. And it's an amateur fight, right? And I see his elbow bending the wrong way. And, I ref sometimes kids jujitsu, and, you tend to stop them early. And I saw this dude's elbow, and I was like, should I jump it? And I was like, I got to just let it. I don't want this like young kid to get his fucking arm broken while I'm refereeing a fight, but I have to let him tap in that. I have to let him make that decision. But even at that point, I was like, shit, man. But my whole thought was he was coming up, and you could see that he got 1 foot on the mat. He was in like a turtle, 2 knees on the mat. He stepped up 1 foot on the mat, and the referee didn't know this, but there's like 2 seconds left in that round. You got to give Dom the benefit of the doubt there. If he knew the time, I just would have liked to see him like go to guard, hug, just when you're in that 3-point stand or that wrestler stand up position trying to come up, your head's not protected because you're posting trying to come up. I would have liked to just see him clinch, grab a hold, roll the guard, something just to eat those 2 seconds. But it seemed to me like that Cejudo was on his way to winning that fight anyway. He had a great strategy. Dom does that footwork where he's pivoting a lot and changing his stances, and he brings his feet down on the center line a lot. Like a lot of people, when they do that footwork, they keep that shoulder length distance between their feet. When Dom does it, his feet come to the center. So if you throw that sweeping low kick that can kick the back leg or the front leg, I mean, that's how you shut him down. And the most underrated thing I think about Henry Cejudo is actually his tactics when he fights. He fights everybody a little differently. He had the game plan totally perfect for when he fought Dom. He had the game plan really as good as you can get it for when he fought DJ the second time. Like just tactically, he does the right stuff when he's in there against everybody.
I couldn't agree more. He's a tactically great fighter. He's a very smart fighter. And I think the one thing about when Dominic Cruz was landing, he was landing when he was sitting on his shots, actually. When he was linear with Henry Cejudo, the punches he was landing that were good, but when he was sitting and punching. When he was moving and punching, Henry Cejudo had zero respect for his power there. You could tell. He literally just walked him down to the cage and was fucking kicking it. Because, I mean, if you're moving and I'm kicking you, if I'm moving, it's going to be extremely hard for me to generate power sweeping outside to land, especially against a smaller target. Like, the fundamentals to it are wrong. And, like, Cejudo was smart. Like you said, he just went in there and he threw those chopping, like he was just chopping wood, man. He was just chopping the legs. And Cruz, when he was landing in the earliest part of the second round, he was throwing straight punches. He was sitting down, throwing straight punches. And I thought he was doing well with that. I don't know why he just didn't fight him in a telephone box, to be honest. He's a longer, taller guy. I thought he was landing well. And when he went back to swinging his head out, his head came middle line and ran right into that knee.
Yep. I actually thought he was starting to do that because the first round he was just getting his legs chopped out every time he would try to get off center, dipping his head and stuff. Cejudo was just throwing those chopping low kicks. By like the second round, he was starting to adjust, and it seemed like he was, the thing with that is like if Cruz is always leading, and Cejudo can just keep him in front of him and then throw those chopping low kicks every single time, there's not a whole lot he can do. But to your point, when he would let Cejudo come in a little bit, he was a lot better at sort of countering and then landing those hard shots. So I think he was trying to make that adjustment, but that slip that he does where he dips off to the side, I mean, dude, he timed that knee fucking perfect. And he had Cruz's number, I think. But he may end up fighting again, Cruz, if Cejudo's out. Who else are they going to put in there? TJ's still done for a while. They got to put Jan in there, and I guess they put him in with, I don't know, who's the next contender after Cruz and Cejudo, maybe Marlon, Jose Aldo. They might do Jose Aldo and Jan.
I don't know. I feel like Aljamain Sterling is going to fight Peter Yan next. I think that's the fight to make.
Yeah, that's a good call.
I'd like to see. I'm curious to see what Frankie Edgar looks like at 135. I feel like that's been his weight class forever, and he's just never fought at it.
Got to go through Jose Aldo
So
again, maybe.
yeah, man. But like, I don't know. I'd like to see Frankie Edgar go out on top with the belt. I love that guy. He's my all-time favorite fighter.
Yeah,
The
everybody would
little
like to see
engine,
that. But
the little engine that could.
he's a little long in the tooth, though. He's going to have to get moving pretty soon. But, you know, Cejudo just cleared up 2 divisions. So hopefully that will bring some life into both of those divisions, and then maybe people will appreciate Cejudo a little bit more, because he did not get the respect he deserved as considering his accolades.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with DJ. Like, DJ got dominated by Dominic Cruz so handily when they fought. Then he went down to flyweight and just destroyed everyone. And everyone's just kind of like, and it's like the same thing I said earlier. Like, I think Stipe Miocic doesn't get nearly enough credit as he deserves for the amount of people he's beat. He literally has like the toughest record you can get in the UFC. He's like the heavyweight longest winning streak, and like he gets no respect as the champion, which is absolutely mind-boggling to me. Bro, he beat Verdun, he beat Overeem, he beat Ngannou, he beat Junior Dos Santos. Bro, all those guys. Bro, former champs, right?
Yeah.
Except Overeem, but Overeem was the Strikeforce champ. But Verdun, I mean, Ngannou's not a champ as well, but I mean, everyone's saying like he's the next big thing. Look how badly Miocic beat him up. Like,
Yeah.
I feel so bad for Stipe, and he's like literally a frontline worker, and they're like urging him to sign the contract and stuff. He's like, bro, I can't even train right now. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know,
I feel
man.
so bad for that guy.
He's such an interesting guy. It's crazy that he's not more popular. I mean, he's a fucking firefighter. He's got the most insane record in the heavyweight division. He just came back from a loss and beat DC with fucking throwing 20 liver shots in a row, basically. Was able to drop him with body shots and finish him. Like, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's because he just doesn't talk much, and when he does talk, you can't understand a fucking word he says, but maybe that's it.
But yeah, like, I don't know. I think bantamweight is just opened up as well. I think that's a good division. Featherweight is just as stacked. Talk about featherweight. What about Calvin Kattar? Oh my god,
dude, that fight was fire. That fight was fucking fire. His boxing is just, dude, he throws combinations more crisp, head, body, head. Like, he threw some 3 and 4 piece combinations where I was like, shit, man. And you see each of them land. Like, he'll throw the jab, the 2, dip down for the liver, come up to the head, and the guys are just like, boom, boom, boom. Each of them just perfect. And you're like, shit, dude, this guy's boxing is lightning fast.
bro! When he fought Zabit, if that was a 5-round fight, I think he could have put him away.
Yeah,
which
I agree.
is interesting because the main events are always supposed to be 5 rounds, but it wasn't a 5-round fight for Zabit in Russia, which is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think Zabit cuts way too much weight. He won't be able to handle like the amount of he won't be able to handle a 4th and 5th round against a pressure fighter like Holloway, in my opinion. After watching him fight Calvin Kattar, man, he folded in the 3rd round. He folded.
He just took that round off. He took that round off completely because he was tired.
You can't do that in a championship fight, man.
He's built like Will Chope, dude. He's like 6'2", and he's cuts down to 145 pounds. What the fuck is that? I don't know how the hell he makes that weight class. And he doesn't have a lot of stopping power either. That's the thing with Zabit. Like, he doesn't really put people away with like precision combinations. He's got a really good blend of like wrestling, judo, and then some really, really flashy, cool striking techniques. Like, he's incredibly entertaining to watch. I mean, when I watch Zabit, like, I'm pumped to watch him fight because he does a lot of traditional techniques, a lot of side kicks, a lot of spin kicks. He's got a great outside trip that he combines with some more traditional wrestling. Like, he's a really, really interesting fighter. But, I mean, he's definitely not, in my opinion, like, as unbeatable as the sort of media puts him out to be, especially after that Kattar fight.
He looks like Abe Lincoln, too.
Yeah, he looks like Abe Lincoln. Brendan Schaub calls him the hormone monster. That's a good call, too. But that Cater fight, though, man, that elbow, oh my God, that step in elbow right there, dude, right in the chin. Perfect placement. He hadn't thrown more than like one or two elbows the whole fight. Just stepped in, boom.
And he's so patient. He's very. Bro, I would love to see Calvin Cater versus Yair Rodriguez. That's the fight I hope they make next.
Ooh, bro, that's a good call. I hadn't thought of that. That's a
I
great
think
fight.
the way it should go at featherweight is Zabit versus Zombie, Volkanovski, obviously rematching Holloway, and then you have Cater fighting Yair. I think those are the 3 fights you make.
It's a good call, dude. Maybe you should be a matchmaker or something. By the way, he does do matchmaking, just in case the listeners don't know.
That's the joke. That for me, that was like the because Cater already fought Zabit and Yair already fought Zombie, and even though Yair, everyone wants to see Yair versus Zabit, I'm more interested in Yair versus Cater, because you got to make both fights 5-round fights. You can't, in my opinion, in the UFC now, you can't win. You can't compete for a title unless you fought in 5 rounds before. It doesn't, like, that's what they're doing now. You see a lot of these guys, they're getting those 5-round main event slots, and then they're fighting. Like, I think Zabit needs a 5-round fight to prove that he can fight 5 rounds before.
He hasn't had one, right? He hasn't had one yet.
No. And the same thing with Yair Rodriguez. Bro, when Yair Rodriguez fought Jeremy Stephens in the last UFC Boston card, bro,
Yeah.
Jeremy Stephens almost stopped him too.
That should have been 5 rounds.
That's what I'm saying. And like, I think, I don't know, man. Cater versus Yair would be wild. It'd be a wild fight, and you could easily put that as a main event. That could easily be a main event. Same with Zabit versus Zombie. That could easily be a main event anywhere in the world.
Yeah, 45, dude. I'm telling, man, 135, 145, 155, 170. Like, god damn, these fucking divisions are just insane right now. 2021 is going to be, once we get through this coronavirus nonsense, like, oh man, the UFC, even like once they get Fight Island rolling and stuff like that in the next 3 months, is there going to be some good fights coming?
You got Ortega in there too. I totally forgot about Brian
Yeah,
Ortega.
he's in the mix for sure. Holloway. I mean, that fight with Volkanovski was competitive. Like, tactical adjustments on either side could edge that in either fighter's direction, you know?
I'm calling this now, and I love Alexander Volkanovski. I think he's a super nice guy. I think Holloway beats him in the rematch. So.
Really? Adjust to the leg kick. I mean, that'll be his thing, right? He'll have to adjust to the leg kick, figure out a way to cut that off.
I think he's going to stay long, and he's going to put pressure. I think Alex fights his best coming forward. I think if he's able to put pressure on Volkanovski, he'll be able to not. He won't stop Alex. Like, obviously, I want Alex to win. I'm going for Alex, but if I was a betting man, I wouldn't bet against Holloway on the rematch.
Did you pick Volkanovski to win the first time? I picked Volkanovski to win that fight.
Yeah, I did too. I did. I picked him. I picked Volkanovski to win. I thought he'd be more like cage wall, like fight him, but he did well on distance with those leg kicks. But that's such an easy correction for Holloway to make. I think I just think, to be honest, I thought he looked flat that night. I thought he just had a bad night in the office. I think the best version of Max Holloway comes to beat Alex Volkanovski. To fight Alex, I think he beats him.
And it was a pretty close fight still, even despite all of that. So I'm glad they gave him the rematch. He definitely deserved that. Can we move on to the one that I thought was the most interesting and sort of controversial fight was the Anthony Pettis Cowboy Cerrone fight? Because my opinion on that, my thoughts on that were that eye poke in the third round, I think, is what edged it for Pettis because it looked so significant and the referee didn't stop it because he thought it was a punch. And so Pettis eye pokes him, and then you see Cowboy and in a razor close fight, and then you see this big reaction, and then Pettis flurries him, and the judges, because it wasn't deemed an illegal technique, can only assume that it was a clean strike. And I mean, up to that point, it was back and forth in that third round, and then Cerrone landed that huge head kick, which was the most significant, legitimate strike of the whole fight. So, I mean, I thought Cerrone won with his takedowns anyway, but then actually I had a 1-1 going into the third. But I think that eye poke totally skewed the fight in Pettis' favor because they deemed it a legal strike.
I think I almost agree with you almost 100% on every point. I wouldn't like I didn't think it was like a travesty of a decision. I could see why they put it either way. I thought personally Cowboy did way more in the terms of a mixed martial arts bout. He did more takedowns. I thought man, Cowboy's head kick landed heavy in the whole thing. I
Dude,
thought he finished the third round way stronger than Pettis.
me
I
too.
thought he won the third round. I thought Cowboy had won the second and the third round. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I thought Cowboy won the second and third round. Pettis was landing like good from southpaw though. Like his left leg kick is phenomenal. But man, Pettis had the dad bod coming in. What?
Yeah, he was looking thick, bro. Damn. What was he eating? Holy shit. But I was happy how Cowboy looked because after the Conor McGregor fight, like everybody was just willing to write him out. And the fact that he came in, his chin looked good. He was scrappy in those exchanges. He didn't back down once. And that head kick, man, I don't know how the hell Pettis ate that. That was shin to neck. Like that's usually donezo when you get caught with that.
I think if Cowboy took a step back and looked at how he should fight, bro, his wrestling is so good. It's not bad. If you watch him shoot, like every time he shoots those low doubles, he finishes them. I never understood why he doesn't wrestle more in that fight. If McGregor came searching at me like that, the first thing I would do is shoot a double leg on his ass. Like I'm not gonna back up try to no man. That's double the shit out of you. That I think Cowboy is great on the ground. His jiu-jitsu is super good.
Yeah, he's super underrated.
Very good jiu-jitsu in MMA. Super good. And like, man, I know like people like to see standing bank. But at this point in your career, if you're trying to advance, get those big money fights, and you want to fight for belts and stuff, you got to put together wins, and that's just the far and short of it. I thought he did enough to win, obviously, but I don't think it was a travesty of a decision. I could see why it went the other way, but
I was just more curious. I was just more kind of aware and thinking about the fact that it was clearly an illegal eye poke that definitely will have skewed the judge's opinion, thinking that it was a legal strike because the referee didn't stop it. And based on the reaction alone, it looked like because he goes like this and he's do like so it looked like it was such a strong strike, and then for sure that will have been what skewed the decision in Pettis' favor, I think. But the fight was fucking awesome. It was so good. It was good to see both veterans like that get in there and have an even match, considering Pettis starched him in that first fight with that left kick to the body. I mean, his left high kick and his left body kick from the southpaw stance, his count, like right when you're stepping in, he just slams that thing in there. It's a thing of beauty.
100%. It was a great fight. I love that fight. That was probably one of my favorite fights of the night.
Yeah, me too. What else is it? There was one more really, really good, fun fight.
The Vicente Luque versus Nico Price fight.
Bro, oh my God, this fucking card was insane. It was so good. I came back here after I went to clean the gym, and I told Charmaine, I was like, you got to watch this fight. I mean, his fucking eyeball was hanging off, but he never backed down. Nico Price didn't back down for a second. Meanwhile, De Castro's like, oh, my toe. I can't, my toe.
My only thing with, I feel bad for him because like as a heavyweight, it's as his back foot, and as a shorter guy, he's like throwing everything from his like weight, like sitting on it. And I think it was a mobility issue. Like I literally think he had problems like walking on it. Like you could tell it was bothering him. Bro, that guy was coming out throwing some amazing leather in the first round.
Oh, I know.
And then
this is going to be
all of a sudden,
fight.
It stopped.
Yep. He didn't. The thing that annoyed me more than anything is he threw one strike after that, and it was a low kick with his bad leg. And I'm like, if you're going to pick one strike to throw after you break your toe, don't kick him with the leg that you throw a fucking jab out, for God's sakes, or a 1-2 or something like that. Something where you're not planting the weight on that front, on that rear leg. But either way, anyway, point is Nico Price and Vicente Luque, who's a dog of a contender, man. He might be a dark horse in that division. Wonder Boy kind of pieced him a little bit and picked him apart, but man, that guy is good and he's tough.
To be fair, that Wonder Boy does that to fucking everybody.
Yeah.
When Wonder Boy fought Masvidal, he fucked him up so bad. Like people, I don't understand. Like everyone talks about this division. Bro, I want to see Wonder Boy fight fucking Israel Adesanya. You want to talk about super fights? That's the super fight I want to see.
That would
Bro,
be so good.
Wonder Boy versus Adesanya or Wonder Boy versus Kamaru Usman. Like, I don't understand. Like, okay, he got knocked out by Pettis. Completely understand. Like, he got knocked out, but he was dominating that fight. He kind of just got caught. But man, like when Wonder Boy is on, bro, he's the best striker in my opinion in the entire world. There's no one. He's so phenomenal. Like he just switched, kicked, wow. It looks like they entered the dragon for real, bro. Like inside the cage, it's wild, man.
He's still in the mix for sure. I mean, he's definitely that division. You still got to go through him. I mean, he's still ranked in the top 5. I think getting a little older. I think he's almost 40, so he's pushing it. He'll have to get in there pretty soon and get a big win. But yeah, I mean, he's absolutely in there. But Luque, and even still, even though he was getting pieced up a little bit in that fight, Luque was there. He was still landing. He was doing some work. I think he's one of the best strikers in that division for sure. With Wonder Boy being obviously the best, I would say.
That's crazy. He's a good counter fighter. Good on the feet. He's got good submission. That was a great fight. It's great that they put that on the undercard. I got a feeling Dana White's kicking himself. He didn't put that as the first fight on the main card.
And between that and Cowboy and Pettis, like, bro, those fights were so damn good. There were 4 or 5 just bangers. That was one of the best fight cards I've seen. They came after this layoff and everybody fought hard. And then there could have been a couple other. We missed out on the Jacare, Uriah Hall fight. I thought Claudia Gadelha and Angela Hill were supposed to fight too. I don't know what happened in that fight.
Rose was supposed to fight Gadelha, and then Rose totally pulled out because her family members passed away.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Okay. Then but how about Bryce Mitchell? Fuck. Talk about a jiu-jitsu masterpiece. Oh my God.
Yeah, a couple of my old training coaches trained him because he trains out of GF Team in Arkansas. That's the gym where Rolly Delgado's at. And then Italo, my old coach, used to train there. And then one of his instructors, Danielson Pimienta, is one of the jiu-jitsu coaches there too. So I know that the jiu-jitsu team there is really fucking good. But that guy he fought was a Ricardo Laborio black belt, and he made him look like a blue belt, dude. But kept tying him up in those twisters and like he almost twisted him 3 times. That's a jiu-jitsu black belt. And like head and arm, he must have had like 10 or 12 near submissions. And even toward the end, that dude's talking shit to him, trying to goad him into a stand-up board. He just stuck to him like glue. He had almost a Khabib style to him. But man, that was really impressive to watch.
Yeah, it was very one-sided. I think Bryce Mitchell's good. I'd like to see him fight the top 15 guy next to that featherweight. I think he's a draw for the UFC for sure. And
he's 25.
Definitely a draw.
He's got plenty of time.
Yeah,
man. Guy. But once you get into that upper echelon, we'll have to see what his striking looks like. Like once you have to be able to strike once you hit that top 5, top 8.
We say that, but look at Khabib. He fucking can't strike for shit.
He's okay. He was able to.
Khabib only strikes to get close, in my opinion.
He just jabbed Al Iaquinta. That's like the only case study for his striking.
He when he's flustered, he sprints in and does this lunging jump.
He's got the Dylan Dennis flying eagle kick though. Bring that back out. All right, dude.
The best strike he landed in that fight.
I think we're gonna have to wrap it. How long have we been going for? I don't even know. Almost an hour and a half, right?
I can't tell.
I can't tell either. But you got anything else you want to chat about before we get out of here?
No, man. I just hope everyone stays safe. I think the next card's coming up. If you want, I think they have a card on Wednesday, which will be good. So it'll be like Thursday morning our time, and then the Sunday morning again. So fights are coming back. I hope everyone just stays safe during whatever is going on. I hope they open the gyms back up. I think the rest of the world is kind of coming back to itself a little bit. We're starting to see countries open up more. New Zealand just went to level 2, so their gyms will start to open up again as well. I hope Singapore takes suit.
Couple weeks.
Shout out to all the Grab drivers who are delivering food and stuff now. I know. Shout out to McDonald's for opening up again.
Yeah, I'm gonna order today, dude. I'm gonna order today. I've been jonesing hard.
Let's go. And shout out to Lucas Leisure for having me on the podcast, and condolences for everything that's happened. And yeah, man, I hope everything's okay with you and your family.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate you doing this for me. As soon as this fight card was over, I was so fucking pumped for it. I knew I had to get you on and just talk shop with you. So I appreciate you doing this. Let's do it again. I'll definitely have you back on as soon as we get back to doing it, and I can see your beautiful face to face.
Awesome, brother. You have
All
a
right,
great
man.
day.
Cheers, everybody. Stay safe. Thank you for listening. This is the Stronghold Podcast. Peace.